Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. What's up guys, AllCoinSherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert, do your own research. Today we'll just look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not really doing a whole lot, and there's really not much to talk about, to be frank and honest with you. Today I just wanted to talk about the general price action after you see some sort of big dip. Generally speaking, after you see a big dip, you'll see that price likes to consolidate and form a range, and this range is typically formed in the candles that quickly follow the big dump. So what I mean by that is that you'll see price going, massive dump, big amount of volatility initially, and then you'll see that price usually likes to stay within this type of price range. And you can see this type of price action overall occurring across all time frames, but it's especially prominent right now. So I'll go into a few of those. You can see that price dumped in May from 40K all the way down to 25. And very quickly after, you saw price establish a price range right around here. Now, it's important to note that generally speaking, you'll see this price range. The candles will be somewhat close to each other. So what I mean by that is that you'll see the range high and the range low established sometimes on the same exact daily candle. Sometimes you'll see it on like the preceding candle. But for instance, you'll see that this price range was established on the same daily candle. So the open close and all these wicks, like, you see basically the wicks forming the open and the close of the overall range. So here you saw that this was the range low around 28K, where it got tapped once again May 22nd. You saw that the range high was this 33K, 32K area, and it was tapped as well on the 31st, and then price broke down. So here's another example, another big nuke down from 32K all the way down to like this 17K area. What happened after that? Price established this overall price range, and again, it's going to be different for every single type of structure. It's going to be different for every type of price action event, but you'll see that usually, generally speaking, the highs and the lows are going to get established pretty quick. And as I said before, sometimes it'll be the wick, sometimes it'll be the opens and closes, sometimes it'll be just the bodies. It's just going to depend on what you look at, but nonetheless, big liquidation event again from 32K all the way down to 17K, and price established another range. Now, where was this range? This range, you can see that it was tapped several times all throughout June, July, August, September. All this this provided this floor around this 19K area, as well as a 17.9K area, and the top of the range was around 22 to 23K or so. Now, I actually think that this would have gone higher because overall S&P 500 was doing pretty well. With that said, the FTX event obviously capitulated a lot of longs and price nuked lower. So anyways, here's another example of once again, you see price dipping down big and then a range forming pretty quickly after. Again, there's going to be deviations below and above the range, typically speaking, especially if the range is established over a long period of time. And as you can see, price deviated above these highs in this July-August time period. But, as I said, it was just a deviation. Price went back within the range. So where are we at now? As you can see, like these dumps are getting like they're not as significant as they were before. Like you saw this big dump from 40, 50K all the way down to 25, 26. You saw another big dump from 31 all the way down to the 17. You're seeing these big moves. Obviously, there's the big one here too, from 70K all the way down, to this 32K area before another bearish retest. We're seeing like these big moves down, but it's interesting to note that the big moves, relatively speaking, like the FTX event, I think should have probably moved price even more, but I think that we're getting closer and closer to the bottom. I'm not saying this is the bottom. I'm just saying that these moves are getting a little bit smaller, just because I think that the amount of liquidations in the system, they're getting less and less. Like people to break down and take out of the market, over leveraged people. I think those people are starting to already capitulate if they haven't capitulated already. And I basically think that we're getting closer and closer to the bottom. Normally, I think that an event like this should take price 50% down or something. I would have expected it to go all the way down to like the 12Ks or something, 11Ks. But price held fairly well, all things considered. And where are we at now? As I said before, price is generally going to establish a range pretty quickly after the big dump. So as you can see here, there's this candle here the day after the dump on the November 10th that established what looks like the range. So as I said before, it's just a lot of chop right now going on. Not really too clear to me, to be frank and honest with you, what price is doing. When you do chart these types of ranges, you can do different highs and lows, but generally speaking, you can just chart the range, like as I said, the high and the low, and you can assume it's ranging when you see price tapping these levels multiple times. So here it is on lower time frames. This is the 4-hour. You can see that the EQ, or the equilibrium of the range, this is generally speaking where you don't generally want to trade at. But as I said before, like this is very clean to me, where it just shows where most people like there's a lot of volume transacted, but like for people like you and me, retail traders, generally speaking, this isn't a good area to trade at. So as I said before, I don't really see much clarity, to be frank and honest with you, in terms of this chart. Like it just tapped the range high pretty recently in mid-December. So it would make sense for this to kind of go a little bit lower and maybe test these range lows. With that said, to be determined if we want to go a little bit higher first, maybe go up to like the mid-17Ks and then go a little bit lower. That's certainly a idea that I personally have, where you might see price come back up a little bit, go above these EMAs, and then break down lower. But, certainly possible where we just break down from here. I don't really know exactly, but we have seen just like overall very tight price action where there's not a whole lot going on and people are just getting chopped up. So definitely stay out of the market unless you really know what you're doing. There is something to be said about learning in these environments because it is very hard to trade, but definitely just know going in that you'll probably just like lose money. So unless you're good, obviously. Overall, I think that just not much clarity overall with Bitcoin, but hopefully you got a little bit something from forming the ranges. Let's take a look at ETH. I think ETH looks a little bit confusing to me, similar to Bitcoin. And it's right back within this demand zone, right around $1,000 to $1,200. This formed a strong base, before ETH doubled when it went from 1,000 to 2,000 with the ETH2 staking narrative. And it is within that demand zone again. However, I don't really see much clarity, to be frank and honest, with this chart. There's just not really clean levels to me, if I'm being honest with you. As I said, there's like, we can try to strip everything away. And maybe you can just mark like this is the high, this is the low, and maybe just it's just this. Maybe it's just forming. It's just charting the range like this. Why am I charting this area? I'm charting it because the range low has been tapped twice, here and here, back in November 22nd, as well as established on November 9th, and it's been tapped twice at the highs. You could also maybe make the argument too that the range high is a little bit lower because it tapped like this area multiple times, but I prefer using these highs up here. Anyways, again, not much clarity in terms of Ethereum, in my opinion. You see the EMAs all compressing, but similar to Bitcoin, it's just very tight and not really a whole lot going on, if I'm being honest with you. So, to be determined if it's going to go up to the 1200s, 1300s, and then break down. Could just also break down to the range lows as well. But not much clarity, and probably best just to stay out of the market unless you know what you're doing. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for the support.